Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. So I am getting ready to head out to my Spark Your Sexy retreat. I am so excited. And this is a retreat you've heard me talk about a lot. I'm helping women ignite their sexy confidence and doing some amazing things. And of course, we're in Vegas to practice all that. And, as I was preparing, something just occurred to me, and I wanted to build a whole podcast around it. And I want to address it because I know not all of you can go to my retreats. Whether it's because of the time, because of the budget, because of for whatever reason. And I've never really done a podcast or workshop around the very skills that I teach to build this dating confidence overall in all of my retreats that I do. So here's the thing. The most important fact that I can convey about dating is that it is a skill. Okay. It's like cooking or painting or riding a bike. It can be taught and learned and practiced. Dating is not this like innate characteristic that people are born with and like others don't have it. I mean, once you can practice, and not only will you get better at dating, but you'll enjoy it more and use it more naturally. It's just like anything else. It does take practice. So first off, I just want to let you know right off the bat that I decided on June 26th, depending on when you're listening to this, to do a complete skill-based workshop called the Dating Playground Experience. So it's virtual, so anybody can come. It's interactive, it's co-ed, and it's completely based in activities to practice dating and flirting. And so there's no PowerPoint for this one, no talking head, just live practice and fun so that we can have a mini virtual taste of what goes on at my retreats. And I couldn't wait to the end of this episode to share this with you in case you can come. Just register. You go to stophatingdating.com. Okay. I just wanted to get that over with because I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to be implementing a lot of the things that I teach in person. So back to what I was saying. In my daily practice, as a dating strategist, I regularly see people transform from struggling as a shy, introverted person to someone who is happy and engaging in social situations. I watch the transformation happen in front of my eyes as we break flirting and dating down from triggering concept that most people have to a system that they can learn to manage and even excel in. I mean, that's exactly what happened to me. You all know my story. But if you are listening to this podcast and there's some doubts that are creeping in, maybe it's because of your age. And, I often tell about a time that I taught an 85-year-old woman at a bar how to pick up men. And she did, and I've gone all the way down to people in their 20s. And it's not about the age. And there may be doubts that your past success or patterns of men or women or the lack of thereof also is affecting you. You say, oh, I have a bad picker. And maybe there's a doubt about how you look, your size, your body confidence, or maybe it's the location you're in. Oh, my town sucks. First of all, can I tell you how many times, like if I had a dime a dollar, let's just up it because inflation. If I had a dollar for everybody who tells me that their town sucks for dating, I'd be a very wealthy woman and I wouldn't be doing this. The truth is that dating is hard no matter where you're at. Sure, there are some locations that are more challenging for others. But again, if you're intentional and you create a plan for it, I believe, because I see it with my clients, that you can find love anywhere and everywhere. I'll never forget a time when I worked with a woman who she lived in one of the most remote areas in, I think it was Montana. And I mean, it was the most unlikely situation to meet somebody. Okay. She lived in this big mansion. She traveled here and there to Vegas, but I mean, it was always traveling. Like she was never just there or based there. So it was hard for her to meet someone there too. And then I love the story. Then what happens is, we start working together, we start creating a dating plan and getting out there and really like putting herself out there. But we had to build the skills because she hadn't dated in a long time. She definitely was a little more of a introvert, but also an intellect. So, flirting, what was that? Just being goofy and silly, that was just not something in her vocabulary. And so I really needed for her to let go and just be open to different situations. And, we did put her online and we diversified her dating portfolio in every way possible for her to just, flirt and have fun with everyone and meet people. And wouldn't you know, that after doing this for a while, and obviously, like we were doing a lot of internal work too. She had some trauma, and we had to break some of those things down because they were definitely part of her love shield. And she meets this guy, again, so unlikely, in the airport. And he didn't live that far from her. But the best part about his situation was that he traveled and he was an author and he traveled all around the world and they started dating and they fell in love. And I had gotten an email, gosh, I want to say about a year later after that saying, Kimmy, I just want you to know that I'm in love. I'm living in India right now with my man and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Now, if that woman can do it, so can you. So just stop all those doubts because it really can happen. So you're not the exception. I mean, starting from right where you are today, you can make measurable gains in this area of your life. And I want to talk to you today to demystify things for you so that you'll be able to begin dating immediately with more ease and less anxiety, but more importantly, with better results. Because some of you are out there dating, but it's just not working for whatever reason. Dating, especially the second time around or in the second act, as I call it, did not come quickly to me either. I always throw myself under the bus. Those of you who've been to my workshops, you've heard my story over and over and over again. And I do like to tell my story multiple times and in different ways because every time I tell my story, I realize there was something that came from my story and many stories in my dating life that I learned something and then now I get to teach you. So I had to go through my own inner and outer transformation. And the reason I tell you this is because sometimes people for whom something comes easily and naturally, like you badasses in business can do things with your eyes closed and you're successful in every other area of your life and you're a high achiever and you do all these things. So it must feel so much even more difficult and hard and frustrating when this area of your life, you just can't crack the code. And I want to just say that we all have things that are challenging. We all have things that come easily to us. But the things that come easily to us, why is that? It's because we've had practice at it. We became good at it. And so now we're confident. And when we're confident, we are able to just do something with ease, right? So I assure you that I have worked hard to develop simple steps to build confidence in your dating life through my own journey with all my other clients. And I took baby steps, right? Like I was painfully plodding through the dating process. My very first re-entry date led me to tears, literally. Like I had the worst date ever. And now I share my first date as something that's funny and fun. And had I back then had the mindset of me just being at practice at all of this, it would have been so much easier. And that's why I wanted to get on here and do a whole episode on this, because for those of you who are just feeling frustrated and burnt out and you want to throw in the towel, please do not. I implore you. And the reason that is because if you can just see some of these quote unquote, I do these air quotes, you can't see me right now, but that's what I'm doing, of failures, they're not really failures. It's just experience that's building the muscle. And so, the very thing that I hated, flirting and dating, and I was a relationship gal. What did I know? I now teach So the very thing I sucked at, I now teach, and this can happen to you. And the cool thing about skills is that they can be taught and learned by anybody, including you, like whoever you are, wherever you are, this can be taught and learned. Um, I want to share another story because this is kind of hot off the press. There was a woman who came to one of my retreats, and she also did a lot of my workshops, and we did kind of a combo package together. And I'll never forget the first thing she proclaimed to me is she said, "There are no good men out there. It's a jungle out there." And, this was a very powerful woman in business. She was very, I mean, even though she was a little more, I would say, on the introverted side, she was very friendly and social. Like she had no problem talking to men either. She had no problem talking to people. But the flirt muscle and being in her femininity just was not there. She was leading with a lot of masculine energy because she had to in business. And with that, her body language was harsh. She talked really loud. She dressed in a very kind of dull and dowdy way. And expressing feelings and being vulnerable was just not in her wheelhouse. And that went farther back in history where she grew up in a very kind of cold home where her family members just never expressed emotions. It was more about just getting things done and plowing through things. And so that's how she was. And like this woman was so frustrated by the time she got to my retreat. She's like, I don't know what's happening. She took other dating courses and all of that stuff. And she's like, I'm online constantly. And, you know, she was reaching out to all these guys on Match and like crickets. Well, I mean, the first thing that I noticed was her pictures, like for online dating, as you all know, it's very visually driven. And her pictures were awful. Like, I mean, the outfits that she had just did not serve her. The quality of the pictures were also like dark and you could hardly see her. And so that was like the first thing. And so we did get, a whole photo shoot done and I did a virtual makeover on her. And she definitely started getting more traction. But again, like the problem still existed about her not having the skills. So we built the skills and and I told her, I said, what if you, instead of looking at the world as a jungle, as you put it, that you looked at it as a playground? And she just kind of looked at me and she says, wow, that's a huge mindset switch. I said, yeah, because no wonder it feels hard. Like if you're going out there thinking that there's like scary animals and lions and tigers and bears and oh my, right? Like it's such a different way of moving through the world versus, oh, I'm on a playground. Who can I play with? Maybe I'll go on some seesaws. I'll swing on the swings. I'll laugh. I'll just, kind of skip along life and just talk to everybody, not worrying about what's next. It's a very different energy. And so, yeah, like besides taking care of her dress and her body language, I taught her how to express feelings and be more vulnerable. She thought it was being weak. And she had to learn that actually expressing her needs and having more of that emotive type of communication was very appealing and connecting. And it allowed especially men to feel her more. So what was so beautiful is that, she did a little video at the end where she said that I no longer look at the world as a jungle. And she's like, I now see that there are good men out there everywhere. Because I had her say the mantra, there are a ton of men everywhere just waiting for me. And I would just have her say that out loud every single day. And I just got an email from her. Gosh, I want to say it was last week. And she said, hi, Kimmy, I met someone. We are perfect for each other. I'm happier than I have ever been in years. So I want to share that with you. And, I always like sharing stories to inspire you and motivate you, knowing that this can happen to you too. And that dating is a skill, that it can be learned to build your confidence, to find love. And you just have to learn and practice that and see that the world is a playground that is fun and full of opportunity. And it's so important to see this because when you start having fun with an abundant mindset and learn the skills that it takes to meet someone special, that is when all of these opportunities will start coming your way. I promise it happens over and over and over again. And I know what you're thinking. Kimmy, I've been working on myself for years, maybe been in therapy forever. And then you say, nothing's working. I'm just too old. I'm too tired to learn some of these games that modern dating seems to, offer. And I've been on the dating apps for a while, and all the people on there are scammers, and everything sucks, right? They all suck. And I have no idea where to go to meet anyone my age in real life. I never was much of a dater before, and I would rather just skip it all and get right to the relationship, right? Is that you? Just come clean. Did I just read your mind? And it's not that I'm a mind reader. It's just I've been doing this for a very long time and know that you're not alone in your thinking. But this is the very reason why maybe you are not finding love or even just opportunities, because you're in this like hamster wheel and in a negative loop. So I totally get it. And I believe that you believe that there are just, aren't any great singles out there for you and that you're exhausted. And as long as you believe that, hear me out, as long as you believe that, then it will be true. You'll make it true and you'll stay feeling this way. But what if you saw that changing your perspective and focusing on building the skills that will make you a better dater actually caused you to meet the love of your life, to build your confidence and create like amazing connections and friendships, just enriching your life? Because dating is a skill and it can be learned to build your confidence to find love. You just have to learn and practice that and see that the world is a playground that is fun and full of opportunity. So today I want to review with you the 6 fundamental skills that I teach in all my workshops. And each of these skills, if you will, or I call them pillars sometimes, are ones that I just teach a workshop on, like specifically, right? So whether you have come to one or two or belong to my Kimmy's Love Hub, where you get to experience each one every month, and those of you who are interested, just holler, let me know if you want to join us. Or maybe you haven't gone to any of them. I want to lay out the dating skills I teach to give you some quick tips on how you can practice these in your everyday life. So at least to get you started right here on the podcast. All right. Obviously, you guys know that I'm all about flirting, right? I call it from friend zone to flirt zone. Like, what are the flirting skills that you need? And if you are introverted or a high achiever or, think that flirting is just a game, I know this is a pain point for you. However, I want to kind of switch the paradigm a little bit and thinking of flirting as something around just playing. Okay. And again, the definition of flirting, if you haven't heard me describe this already, is to act as if you are attracted to everybody without the serious intention of an outcome. That last part is really crucial as you're going out there and practicing, because if you're getting attached to the outcome, if you're saying, oh, I'm not good at this, or I'm not interested in that person, or I don't want to give them the wrong idea, or, that's all outcome oriented and based. That's not flirting. Flirting is being in the moment and not worrying about what's next. So once you go in with that mindset, it's going to be so much easier, because kids do this, right? Kids don't go on the playground and sit there and hesitate and say, oh, I wonder if little Sarah, wants to talk to me. She looks really busy. Why would she talk to me? No, they don't do that. They just go and say, hi, what are you doing? Can I play with you? What if we just did that all the time? Well, we're adults, right? Like somehow we've developed filters, and that's because we've had life experiences, we've had hurt, we've had rejection. And so every time that happens, there's this like these bricks that build this wall. in front of us. And now all of a sudden we hesitate and we hide behind the bricks. So I want to break apart that wall so that you could start looking at life as just one big playground. Now, the biggest thing that tip I will say in this area is your body language. Okay. Just start paying attention to your body language as you're out and about. Are you smiling? Are you making eye contact? Are you using open gestures? Just start noticing who's noticing you and connect with the very fundamental body language things, such as the eye contact and smiling. It goes a long way. I always joke in all my workshops and even just when I talk, there's so many resting bitch faces out there, y'all. And by the way, this isn't just for women. If you're a man listening to this, men have this too. I call it resting grimace face. We're just also serious. And the looks on our face is literally preventing people from talking to us. And it's preventing you from talking to others because you're so in your head. Now, we're not really trying to be bitchy or mean, but what we are doing is we're thinking a lot. And you're not even realizing what's written on your face. So just that, I think, is a great place to start. Okay. That's tip for the flirt. All right. The second area are conversation hacks. What the hell do I say? Right. And, some of you might be saying, well, I have no problem having a conversation, or at work, I can carry on and communicate with people, no problem. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about, what does your conversation look like in a text, online, on a date, at a party, that moves a conversation from something that's just a little factual, kind of niceties, to something that's more inviting, that's more fun, and that will actually close the deal, And so one of the things that I teach people in all of my programs basically is how to share stories. So if you are someone who keeps throwing out these factual type of conversations, and you're talking about the weather or politics, or, no wonder if you're introverted, that conversation just seems exhausting. That's not, that's what people sometimes define as small talk. I don't define small talk that way. Small talk is just getting to know someone, and it can be very fun and connecting. But if you are just spewing a bunch of facts out there, that's going to be different than sharing a personal story about yourself. When you share a personal story, people are getting to know who you are in that story. It's more fun and engaging to listen to, and it almost solicits stories that the receiver can think about, right? Like if I'm telling a story about how much fun I had in Hawaii, and I'm telling a little bit of something that happened to me, that might inspire that person to say, oh, I've been to Hawaii, and oh my gosh, yes, I love it. And here's what happened, right? Now it's more connected type of conversation. Because at the end of the day, and this, if you want to just jot this down, this is really important. It's not about the feeling. I'm sorry, scratch that. Scratch that out. It's not about the facts that make somebody want to move on to you, with you, all that. It's the feeling they have when they're with you. It's not about the facts. It's about the feelings. Because you could talk a lot about nothing, but if someone feels good around you, that's all that matters. So stop getting caught up on what's my line or what do I say. If you really practice that story exchange, I promise conversations will be a lot better. All right, that's for conversation. The third area is creating an attractive first impression. Without beating a dead horse, dress well, people. And I'm not talking about wearing clothes that maybe you enjoy, at work or as a parent. These are intentional clothes that you put on when it comes to attracting who you want. And there are definite hacks for that. It's your dating costume. It's not your everyday costume. It's something that you put on that makes you feel sexy, attractive, inviting. And because of that, you're going to move differently in your body. Like, ladies, I know a lot of you hate heels. I'm with you. I don't like stilettos at all. But could you get something that has a little bit of chunky heel or a lift or a wedge that provides a sexier walk and your posture to look more upright? Like, it makes a difference. We all know that we walk differently in a pair of heels than shuffling with some flip-flops on. I mean, of course, that's going to be different. So that's really important when it comes to, again, the intentionality of putting on something that makes you look and feel your best so you attract what you want. All right, the fourth area is being authentic and vulnerable in your interactions. Now, a lot of people have trouble with this one. And then again, I have a whole workshop on it. And it's not TMI. It's not, showing up on a date and saying, let me tell you about my childhood and my awful relationship with my mother. No, that's not what we mean. What I talk about in ways of this area is being true to yourself and being who you are and conveying and expressing things so that people really feel you, they know you. You're not shape-shifting into something that you're not, just to make a great first impression, right? How many of you go on dates and you're not really being your authentic self? You just know how to like make someone like you. Well, that's not really being your authentic self. And on the vulnerability side, the tip is really learning how to express emotions. Like, practice expressing your emotions, even if it feels uncomfortable. And it's, again, not saying I'm so sad or I'm so frustrated. I mean, on a first date, like, are you using emotional trigger words like, I enjoy this, I'm passionate about this, I'm excited by, like, those are trigger words that really allow people to feel what you feel. And when you do that, you're setting a new precedent of what the relationship will be later on. Because for those of you who attract takers, narcissists, fixer-uppers, all of that, usually what I find happens is that you are attracting that because you're just a good audience. You're not expressing your needs and your wants and desires. So later on, when you then are in this relationship with the takers, you try to express things and they're nowhere for you. Right. But that's on you because it started that way. So from the beginning, really practice that. All right. The fifth skill area, and this is a big one, I just did a whole workshop on it, is IRL dating. What is that? In real life dating. I am hearing across the board, all of you are so sick of online dating, right? And you're getting burnt out and you just want to have the meet cute moment. What is that? Meet cute moment is just that old school thing where you're out and about and you meet your man or you meet your woman in real life, in that fairy tale moment. Well, it can happen to you. Again, it takes putting yourself out there. So this area is where I really create like social plans for people so that they can meet people in all different areas of their life and build kind of these social circles from that. And the tip that I will say here is start just, looking at activities, groups in your area and that are more like natural opportunities to meet new people. I'm not a big fan. I'll just say this right now. I'm not a big fan of single events. Why? Because I think it creates a hunter energy where everyone goes in with this like competitiveness. And the numbers of men to women are always imbalanced. And so I'd rather you go to like just a social event around your interests where you're feeling more natural and finding like-minded people to start talking with. And I can hear some of you say, oh, well, how do you know if they're single? And, it doesn't matter. The fact that you're even asking this means that you need a mindset shift. Look, when you're out there, it's like networking. It's just like for business. Don't worry about who's single, who's available, who's your type. Stop vetting people before you even meet. When you just focus on being friendly and connecting. You never know who you're going to meet. And it may not be the person you're talking to. So it could be that they know somebody, or somebody behind you is watching you talk to that person and they like your energy. And this happens all the time when I'm coaching. So just have that mindset and start, getting more involved in your in social groups. And the final skill that I like to focus on is the art of attraction, which has to do with your sexy confidence. Now, there's so many different areas, right? This is what I'm practicing with the ladies this weekend in Spark Your Sexy. But what I'll say is that really I say focusing on your feminine or masculine energy, depending on whether you're a man or a woman, but paying attention to what energy you're putting out there. If you're a woman, like, are you using feminine communication? Are you slowing down? And hear me out. Femininity isn't about dumbing down. It's about slowing down. And when you do that, you're in more receiving energy. It's not that you can't, no one is saying that you can't do it all. That's not the point. But do you want to do it all? At what point do you allow, like, just some people to give to you? A lot of you women who are powerhouses, you're not even allowing that space or time or energy for people to give to you. So that's a huge part of femininity in the way I teach it. And men, pay attention to your boldness, your assertiveness, your body language. Or you, that guy who keeps overthinking things and hesitating. I mean, the alpha energy isn't about being an asshole, right? Like, a lot of great, nice men have that in their head. Like, oh, well, women just like assholes. No, that's not the case. We just like guys who have confidence and who are bold and take assertive action because we feel safe around that. So are you the creepy guy that's standing in the corner and hesitating and not approaching women because you're worried about, like, giving the wrong impression? Or are you just going to go after what you want and not worry about that? Because, when you're in that sexy confidence, you go after with what you want. All right. So those are my 6. And obviously, in each of these pillars, there are so many things. And that's why I encourage you to come to my workshop so I can deep dive with you on each of these areas. But at the very least, come to the Dating Playground Experience June 26th, because we're going to actually practice all of this. All right. Overall, I would say, just to have just success in these areas, stay persistent. Rejection, as a lot of people call it, is a natural part of dating. Again, it's not even rejection. It's just the experience of things working and not working. And stay persistent and just keep putting yourself out there. The other thing I will say is it's okay to use dating apps. It's just part of your dating portfolio, but don't just rely on that and thinking that it's going to be your end all be all. And then when it doesn't work, shutting down your dating life. Balance online dating with in-person interactions. And when you build the muscle, you build the skills, it's going to help you in both the app dating and the real life dating. And when you implement these tips, it can help you transform your dating experience from being just blah and boring to something fun and flirty. And it'll boost your confidence and create more dating opportunities overall. All right, I want to end with the email that I always end with. And this is from Stephanie. She says, I'm shy and introverted and was in a 22-year relationship with someone who passed away last year. I haven't dated in over 25 years, and I have no clue what to do or know how to meet potential dates. In fact, I'm not sure I ever really just dated, as I have mostly relationships. I don't like the dating app thing. I really do want to meet people, make friends, and have fun. Help. Stephanie, first off, I'm so sorry for your loss, and it must feel really foreign and daunting to put yourself out there again. You're entering a whole new world, and not only has the dating landscape changed, but so have you. And the fact that you haven't ever really dated for the sake of dating will be a new skill set that will require some practice and being more intentional, and it can be a lot of fun. And I love what you said, that you just want to have fun, make friends, meet new people. That's exactly where you should start. But the truth is, Gone are the days where you had the infrastructure for your social life when you were young. Maybe it was in college or a work setting with a lot of single people. You have to be intentional and you have to put yourself out there and do things that might feel uncomfortable. So here's some tips for you. First, create a list of hobbies and passion that you might be interested in. Start researching the areas. This will allow you to meet new people in your areas of interest with like-minded people, like we were talking about before. Don't worry at first whether people are single or not. The point is just start networking and build opportunities for your social life because you never know who you might meet. Second, flirt and have fun with everyone. And I'm sure that that's probably very hard for you if you're a little bit shy. Just practice flirting by smiling and making eye contact with people everywhere you go and build that muscle. I know it's going to be hard, but if you start being aware of the people and connect with your eyes and smile, you'll be amazed how even just that will help you meet people by being more open. And finally, your mindset should be that you are on a playground, that you're not just out there, just to find a boyfriend or get married. You're just out there to have a bunch of play dates. You are building skills to gain confidence and feel more connected socially. And when you have that mindset going in, it'll be less overwhelming. You got this. And when you're thinking about it this way, being more social to build skills versus dating to get a boyfriend, you'll find it easier. So if you're listening to this and you hear some similarities with this scenario, try incorporating some of these tips to see how this can build your dating confidence overall. You have the right to see dating as fun, and this is your time in your life to do so. Because remember, dating is a skill that can be learned to build your confidence and to find love. You just have to learn and practice that and see that the world is a playground that is fun and full of opportunity. Well, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for joining me today. As always, this has been the Charisma Quotient, and I'm your host, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. Make sure you go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com. And if you struggle to put yourself out there and date, come to my co-ed interactive dating playground experience to help you have those enjoyable dates, engaging in conversations, and feel completely comfortable and confident in your body. And once you leave the flirt station, as I've been calling it, and go out there into the real world, it will apply. I hear this countless times from people who have attended my workshops. Like, oh my gosh, I implemented some of the things that I learned and I'm already getting results. So imagine, again, just that 1 hour might really shift things in your life. So no PowerPoints or talking head, just pure practice, interaction, and most of all, fun, because that's how I roll. And just go to stophatingdating.com to register, as the seats will be limited for this one. Absolutely. And remember, working on you is working on your dating life. That's all for now.